Are you murmuring as less confident as the leper said, if you will? Let's begin our Bible reading. I'm going to read Mark 1:40 through 45, entitled, Yes, I Do. And a leper came to him, beseeching him, and kneeling said to him, If you will, you can make me clean. Moved with pity, he stretched out his hand and touched him, and said to him, I will, be clean. And immediately the leprosy left him, and he was made clean. And he sternly charged him, and sent him away at once, and said to him, See that you say nothing to anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer for your cleansing what Moses commanded, for a proof to the people. But he went out and began to talk freely about it, and to spread the news, so that Jesus could no longer openly enter a town, but was out in the country, and people came to him from every quarter. Why should Jesus collide against legalists so often? Behind those conflicts, there was a significant difference between Jesus and them, of understanding what the law is. In defining what the law is, Jesus was totally different from them. At that time, there were three kinds of law. The 10 Commandments, which is the Constitution. Actions, practical laws. The tradition of elders, precedents. According to schools, the definition of the law was very diverse. However, the assertion of the Pharisees became dominant at Judaism that all three kinds of the law, so that we must observe them all without any remnants. According to Flavius Josephus, a Jewish historian, the Pharisees were only 9,000 in number, but to control over the entire ethos of Judaism. However, Jesus regarded the 10 Commandments alone as the law. Actions and traditions were made by human beings and in the constitution of nonconformity. Why? It's because it was the wrong definition of the law made by legalists. So the rest of all their efforts went wrong from that on. For example, concerning the Sabbath law, the Bible just says, Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Exodus 28. There is a constitutional statement alone without its definition, following actions, and know nothing. So legalists felt obliged to define what the constitutional law meant. What is the Sabbath? Sabbath is the day of non-working. So what is work and non-working? They define work and not working. Jesus saw the wrong definition of the Constitution and its following actions and precedents. All theirs were in constitutional nonconformity from the perspective of Jesus. All theirs were against the constitutional law, their definition of law, following actions and precedents. All their legal efforts were the laws of disobedience or against the will of God. They taught people to follow themselves. Why were they leading them to hell rather than going there by themselves alone? The Bible, the Old Testament, is written in Hebrew. It is a dead language not used for hundreds of years. Only a few religious aliens could read it. At the time of Jesus, the Jews used Aramaic, which is the Old Arabic. People couldn't understand what was written in the Bible and what it meant, until someone would read and explain it to them. Unfortunately, at that time, the Pharisees were dominant at Judaism as their interpretations of the Bible too. It was the same as the blind led people to hell. On that historical background, today's episode begins. And a leper came to him, beseeching him, and kneeling said to him, If you will, you can make me clean. A leper came to Jesus, knelt down before him, and asked him, Why did he come to and kneel down before Jesus? It is because nothing has worked so far, but he believed that Jesus could make him healed. So he came to and knelt down before Jesus. He asked Jesus to make him whole. But his way of speech is very weird. If you will. What? What was he saying? Is it not right for him to say, Heal me, please. Mercy on me, please. Then why did he say, If you will? What made him so intimidated at that time? This leper was secluded from the society right after he was diagnosed with leprosy. From that on, he was removed from his family, his village, the entire society. It's not a self-isolation, but the complete removal from the human society. He must live in the wilderness where no one lives, not just for 2 weeks, his entire life. It is not important how smart he was, how rich he was, or how powerful he was. Now he was confirmed that he was infected by the fatal virus, so that he was kicked off from the society permanently. He couldn't eat with his family or talk with his friends. He was always out of food, so he went into the village for some food. Kids treated him like a demon and threw stones at him. He tried to avoid stones but would always fail to, because he had starved so many days. He was bleeding by stones and running away from them. As time went by, nothing became any better. It became worse and worse. He was almost a dead meat. No hope, just total despair. According to the legalistic regulations of the law, a leper must not come into a village, talk with people, and meet people face to face. Then how could he come to Jesus in spite of his unclean disease? Even if Jesus didn't reject him, the village people would have found him before coming to Jesus and stoned him to death outside the village. However, it was like this or that. He had no other choice but to come to Jesus. He was ready for death when he came to Jesus. Fortunately for him, the village people were so confused because Jesus came to town that they couldn't identify the unclean man. Thank God he was safe. People were crowded at a street where Jesus was walking. The leper was coming to Jesus. He knelt down before Jesus and said, "If you will." I'm not a human, but just a thing. As he had been rejected by this or that people so many times, he was too much concerned and afraid if Jesus would reject him too. So, from his deep inside, he unconsciously uttered, "Don't desert me, please. If you will." Possibly he had lived an optimistic life before. However, his confidence in himself went down to zero, to absolutely nothing. You can make me clean. I have no confidence in myself at all, but my total confidence is in Jesus. Moved with pity, he stretched out his hand and touched him, and said to him, "I will, be clean." And immediately the leprosy left him, and he was made clean. Jesus was moved by pity. That's it. What is more needed except the fact that Jesus was moved by pity? He stretched out his hand and touched him, and said to him, according to the legalistic regulations, it is a violation to touch a leper. So was Jesus. Then why did Jesus touch him? "I know you have suffered so far. No worries, I won't ever desert you." In his touch, love was included. At this moment, all his sufferings were melted down completely. Jesus never rejected those in need, suffering, and marginalized. By his love, Jesus helped the leper at once. And he sternly charged them and sent him away at once, and said to him, "See that you say nothing to anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer for your cleansing what Moses commanded, for a proof to the people." Shh. According to the regulations of the law, the man recovered from leprosy could take an instatement procedure to go back to the society. Without this, he couldn't go back to his family and village. There was no problem for him to do so, because he was already healed completely. However, Jesus warned him not to tell how he was healed. Why? It is because he could make the situation much worse, so that the crucifixion time would come much faster. The legalists knew the fact that Jesus healed a person with leprosy by breaking the law. But he went out and began to talk freely about it and to spread the news, so that Jesus could no longer openly enter a town whilst out in the country, and people came to him from every quarter. The warning of Jesus didn't work. The news that a leper was healed was breaking news to the entire Jewish society. Most likely people asked again and again, many times, "How were you healed?" It just happened. Could it be the right explanation if a leper has recovered all at once? Telling the truth would be the only way to explain out what really happened to him. So the shocking news was spread out through all parts of Judea. All of Judea were stirred up because of the shocking news. Unless Jesus had to cool down the rapid growth of the news, it might ignite the passion for independence of the Jews from the Roman Empire, so that the revolution would have taken place much sooner or later. Then the Roman troops would come into Jerusalem and destroy everything. The Roman Empire had been built upon the manpower of her slaves from the conquered lands. It was not strange wherever revolts against her took place. One revolt might be trivial, but what if it would affect the other colonized areas? She could fall down suddenly. Where was the number one place where revolt might take place among the Roman colonies? It was Jerusalem. So the Roman Emperor sent a governor who always watched out if any signs of revolt would happen around that area. What if Jesus' movement might give any wrong signal for revolt against the Roman Empire? Most likely it would be necessary for the Jews to go to war against Rome. Jesus led the town to the wilderness so that he could cool down the Jewish passion for independence. Wilderness is not the place people live in. However, many people came to him. They had neither address nor GPS at that time. If any of you were them, you will stay calm, not coming to him to listen to his message of life and to see whatever kinds of disease could be healed by him. If he comes here, no matter what troubles you have, you will search for him, go to him, and stay around him. You go there and see him face to face and listen to his word, which gives you healing to your body and soul. It was really amazing for them to come to Jesus at the wilderness from everywhere. We have read through the chapter 1 of Mark. What do you feel about Jesus? What would Jesus try to let us know? Are you murmuring as less confident as the leper said, if you will? Jesus answers even to my prayer. This is buffering. Yes, I do.